to the news. This is the sound of your vibrational clothing draping across yourself. This is the sound of your vibrational clothing and your frequencies that are something that you're able to just wear. Yeah, because dang tech and Change for Games is something of a source of a clothing, developing, manufacturing, hopefully future forward, aspirationally trying to develop more clothing in the future. Nonetheless, we actually are trying to develop more clothing in the future, but in this episode of this podcast, we're trying to talk about spiritual clothing, like a spiritual healing type of clothing, in essence, where we're just trying to develop a mechanism that's similar to having something that's metaphorical clothing in essence, because ultimately, yes, we do hope to develop more clothing in essence, as that's one of the actual first iterations of whatever this company ever was back in just actually fresh out of high school, when Dink Tech was fresh out of high school, which is meaning me. I was fresh out of high school. That was the first thing, is clothing, so clothing is a big deal. And so what we're trying to get at in this episode today is talking about spiritual finance clothing, in essence, healing clothing, in essence, healing frequencies clothing, whereas we're trying to develop the frequencies that in essence are trying to enable every human in the world to be able to not only have actual clothing that will actually make ultimately, in essence, but ultimately spiritual clothing and spiritual finance clothing and spiritual frequency clothing to be able to wear and put on within this episode. It's a warm and fuzzy feeling that you're able to just sort of grab from the thin air that's in front of you right now as we're speaking and be able to just put on any given frequency fuzzy clothing that's in front of you, that you see in front of you. That's like a healing energy frequency. A healing energy frequency that you see in front of you, in essence, and that healing energy frequency, in essence, as you put it on you like a sweater, in essence, that it engulfs you and it engorges your senses, that in essence, once you're wearing that energy, that's healing energy. It's like healing energy clothing. It's like healing energy clothing sweatshirts, yeah, that you just put on your body, and a couple layers of them at that. So in essence, the purpose of that is to be able to also reset your energy as like a kid. So every single day, every single morning, every single day, every single couple of minutes, your energy is able to reset like a kid, so that in essence, you're able to let go of all of the given aspects of stress and annoyance and irritation from any aspects of the day, because people have expectations of you, and literally in many instances, that is where your stress comes from. It is not necessarily always self-driven. It's not self-driven necessarily. So ultimately, what this clothing is meant to be is like a reminder of healing energy that reminds you of yourself, you as yourself as an individual, you as yourself as a soul, as an individual, not from what these people think about you in a surrounding environment, not anything to do with what people in the surrounding environment have anything to do with you. And so it's an ability to be able to cleanse all of those feelings and all of that mindset, in this ability to be able to reflect on the self as a person that's an individual isolated in the universe, in something that is a positive sense that brings you back to childhood, in essence, where you come into the world as an individual. And in essence, when you come into the world, nobody's judging you, nobody's saying anything to you, nobody's filling your brain with something that might make you feel negative or stressed or necessarily things of that nature. And that's what this healing clothing metaphor is meant to be. Whoa, that's what this clothing metaphor and healing energy frequency clothing is meant to be. And so, as you wear this clothing, you can cleanse your mindset at any time to become a kid again, so that in essence, you just forget all thoughts. You forget all thoughts of what anybody else has to say in the world at any given time about any of you, any individuals at any given time. This cleanses away all that, and everybody gets to become a kid again immediately. And just to be able to reset that mindset any given time that you think about that sweatshirt that you're wearing, that healing energy sweatshirt that you're wearing, in essence, from this podcast. It's like a gift in this podcast to get this free energy healing sweatshirt. It's free healing energy frequency, yeah, that you can just put on and wear right now because it feels good. And at the same time, you can just cleanse yourself as a kid, and then therefore all of the stress is meant to dissolve in the world, because it's just you and yourself, and that's it in this world. And that's literally what it is that you came into this world as, and for the first few seconds anyway. So any of the people's opinions in the whole world, they don't matter. Nobody else's opinion in the whole world matters about you. Only your opinion about yourself matters after all. So that's what's more important than anything, is to be able to cleanse that mindset about yourself. Be able to cleanse that mindset about yourself, just to go back to being the basics when you're playing as a kid, and nothing else matters. Nothing else matters in the past, present, or future, because you are yourself and you're alive, and if you're a living creature, then that's all that really necessarily matters. So anybody else's opinions don't necessarily matter, and you can always move away in directions of more positive people's opinions in the future nonetheless, and that's the whole purpose of trying to be able to focus that cleansing energy on becoming a kid again, but then it's also resolving your energy and cleansing the energy of other people's opinions, because other people's opinions don't ultimately necessarily matter, and you can always reframe and rechange the perspectives that are surrounding you necessarily, and just jump into a different environment necessarily if it's necessary. Whoa. And so leverage this cleansing, healing sweater and these cleansing, healing clothing to be able to try to get a little bit of an association like Dink Tech and Change for Game Studios Dink Tech and Change for Game Studios as a brand, as a comrade, as a friend, as an energy that's sort of complementary to all people in the world, trying to be able to try to help to solve problems in the world as we're all trying to solve the aspect of everybody's energy in the world, all individuals in the world, to be able to transition into an entrepreneurship type of entrepreneurship energy, which just means you're trying to solve problems, in essence, one problem at a time around the whole world, in essence. So collectively, we have the collaboration where we're trying to heal up and close up and connect all of the problems in the world and gently try to absolve nice frequencies and healing frequencies, similar to like we try to do for all individuals in the world, to be able to leverage this type of clothing to then try to individually, one problem at a time, all around the world, be able to try to sing frequencies into the problems of the universe, into the problems of this planet, into the problems of planet Earth, so that we can try to individually connect with the ability to be able to sing solutions into the problems, into the holes of all the problems in the world, so that hopefully the Earth can hear us, and the Earth has the ability to be able to have reciprocal energies, and so we're able to sing the right energies into these problems, to be able to sing directly into the gaps that are open up as these problems have certain frequencies. And when you're able to sing certain frequencies into these problems, specifically as all human beings are able to connect with their entrepreneurship selves, that those individuals all have business music inside of them, and all of this business music is able to emanate from these individuals all around the world, and all around the world once this business music emanates from their spirit and their soul, from cleansing the energy, and they're able to sing this business music from their soul, in essence, that these problems are able to resonate on the other end. And once they are able to realize their entrepreneurship selves, and these problems are able to resonate once they realize that this frequency is reflected in the form of a human being on the planet, and that therefore sends the energy directly into these problems in the world, so that each of these people in the world, all of these 8 billion people in the world, are able to acknowledge a problem, a specific problem, and be able to attack it, or try to absolve it, or try to improve it for all the other people in the whole world. It's called the global philanthropy energy grid, when we're all working together in this fashion to be able to focus on philanthropy as the primary version, and focus for entrepreneurship as a fundamental underlining purpose. And so that energy is able to frequency is able to align with all these problems, and we're able to sing the resolutions into these problems, just like we're trying to align with the energy and reflect the energy back of this problem back to it, so that in essence it has the ability to heal. And just because we've aligned with our own healing energies as all human beings, all 8 billion people, to align with our energies by having this healing clothing to be able to wear, that in essence we're able to sing the frequencies back into these problems, and then therefore be able to try to close these problems on planet Earth, and try to stitch them together and heal these problems one problem at a time, leveraging human beings as the conceptual solutions to be able to make the resolutions, to be able to make the frequencies sing from the business music, from the hearts of all individuals, all 8 billion human beings in the world, to be able to collectively develop what is also called the global philanthropy energy grid, which is what it's called in this podcast, all the way down the line in the past podcasts. So in essence, as we continue to try to leverage this in this direction, we're all working together by leveraging healing clothing, healing frequencies, healing energy. And there is an interesting company in the world that exists. It's called Saraset, and that company also has a certain item which is a little bit like of an inspiration type of a scenario, which their service in essence corresponds to the development of a certain frequency of one's own brain, listening to one's own brain, so that in essence it's possible to be able to regurgitate that sound within themselves. They're able to listen to their own brain's sound, so that sound is able to also make improvements on people's brains and essence, to be able to also focus in a similar fashion to what we talked about in an energy sweater in the beginning of this, to be able to refocus and repurpose energy in terms of the mind, and in terms of the brain, and in terms of brainwaves, in terms of recontextualizing energy from within, to be able to try to reconnect with the basics, to be able to get to that basic focus of connecting with resetting to the fundamental state of newborn status, almost to a certain extent. And at the same time, that is the type of energy that we're referring to in terms of singing business music into the holes and different problems around the world, to be able to try to close up different problems around the world by singing the resonant frequencies back into those problems once they are realized, once the entrepreneurship energy is realized within human beings, so that they can resonate and deflect and reflect the ability to be able to take on certain markets that reflect this problem energy, to be able to then therefore almost like very thoroughly solve these problems and give value into these problems, and be able to resolve these problems, ultimately very similar to the mindsets discussed before this time in the podcast. Yeah! All right. Yeah. In yesterday's episode, we spoke about also developing business music from a sewing machine that is flying around in the world that is also based on actual music. So in essence, as we continue to try to make and weave out different actual music, develop different actual music from different genres and thread them together from different genres to be able to thread different business music, we're also able to try to thread these clothes through experiences around the whole distribution aspect of different music from DingTech and Change for Games. DingTech Change for Games, that in essence is to be able to try to develop and leverage music, to be able to try to knit these clothes, like develop frequency clothing. We're trying to develop frequency clothing as in the form of spinning frequencies into these types of clothing that we're trying to continue to be able to spin and spawn all these types of clothes around the world to develop continuous frequency clothing, frequency healing energy clothing, to then therefore be able to wear this frequency, be able to wear this frequency in these clothing, this clothing that's invisible. It's a metaphor. But we're actually trying to do that with music. Develop music that is leveraging healing energy. And it's a peculiar process, I suppose you could say, but we're trying to have this energy be able to last and develop it from music and combining genres and stitching genres together and different aspects of genres and being able to swim within genres, to be able to open up different sounds and be able to grab them from different places and be able to try to stitch them together with the sewing machine, the flying sewing machine from yesterday, the flying sewing machine that's able to stitch together varying frequencies to try to be able to optimize the global philanthropy energy grid and to be able to try to be in the right place at the right time, to be able to try to, and that's how it's designed as a little machine, to be able to try to continue to optimize the business music frequencies, to be able to try to stitch together the most optimal business music frequency synergies and collaborative frequency sequences and synergy energy synergies and synthesized frequencies and energies to be able to collaborate and connect all these continual, consecutive, consistent global philanthropy energy grid energies and combine them through all the people and all the music and all the connective conceptual media alignments that are possible to be able to continue to spawn more and more global philanthropy energy upwards into the global philanthropy energy grid. Upwards, collectively into the global philanthropy energy grid. Yeah. Thanks again, DingTech, bye. DingTech Change for Games Studios, bye, peace, bye.